Hello, my name is Zania and I'm a future arts educator hoping to inspire others to find passion in the act of creation. My desire to pursue this calling starts with a girl named Tia. My interactions with her prior to high school were short and not exactly memorable. I watched her yell and pull on her hair in the hall on a few occasions. I heard stories of her threatening a boy in science for making a joke she felt insulted by, cussing a teacher out because an offhand comment felt like a personal attack, and more. She was new in middle school and acted entirely different than the other kids I grew up with. People were intimidated by her, including me. Freshman year of high school, she was put at my table in art class. I was afraid that I would get dragged into her outbursts frequently over the school year. The behavior I witnessed from her, however, was nothing like I expected. She made jokes and laughed all period. She talked to everyone and about anything. She gave compliments out like candy on Halloween and squealed with excitement when given one back. She made some of the weirdest art I've ever seen, and some of the most beautiful. I remember when she told me how art was her highest grade, and how she faced many challenges in her general education classes. She said that art was the one thing that let her say and show whatever she wanted, however she felt, without ridicule or embarrassment. It seemed like her only solid and unwavering outlet of expression. What I came to understand about Tia after this time was that she was simply extra expressive. She laid everything out for everyone to see and hear, especially in art. I only heard about the times that she was loud because that's what others deemed interesting, and if it weren't for art class, I never would have known otherwise. Because we never took the same level of core classes at the same time, I almost never had the opportunity of knowing her. Now we message all the time, and I try to see her whenever I'm home. We video chatted just last week, reminiscing about high school. She still feels like art is the one thing she's truly good at. I went to school with a lot of people who felt like art was the only thing they got right in academics. I also knew people who felt like art was simply one of the many things they got right in academics. And the kids who believed that art was a skill they simply didn't possess never made bad art, even if they thought they did. I go to school now with a bunch of 20-something art majors. Fantastic work. I've never been so jealous of others' abilities in all my life, and I think this is the idea that people get in their heads when they think of an artist. And while these people are absolutely artists, this isn't the standard and shouldn't be. Everyone can be an artist, and everyone is an artist. Let's look at what art actually is. What's considered art and why? Many people consider art to be paintings, drawings, sculptures, and other aesthetically pleasing forms of creation that serve no real function. However, art is everywhere. Anything man-made is technically art. Sure, watercolor paintings and ink drawings are absolutely art, but so is music, poetry, video games, your dining room table, clothes, dance, desserts, jewelry, your hair, books and book covers, bouquets of flowers, whole entire buildings, and the tiniest and simplest of safety pins. Anything planned out, designed, built, written, spoken, or woven, that's art. And you may think you're not an artist, but you definitely are. According to the National Priorities Budget, the United States allocated about $70 billion to education in 2016. Sounds pretty good, except that was only 6% of its $1.15 trillion discretionary budget. That same year, the National Endowment for the Arts granted arts funding of $147 million across the nation. That's 0.2% of the total education budget alone, and only 0.01% of the entire discretionary budget. That's 1/10,000th. The arts are a universal language that all people from all walks of life can speak. Everyone can create regardless of ability level. Because art encompasses so many things, art can be made despite a lack of hearing, vision, motor skills, or ability to speak. Yet it comes in so far down the rankings of important curriculum to learn in school. As I'm sure you might have noticed, whenever a school runs low on money, it always seems that the first thing they look at cutting the budget for is the art department. I heard from an arts educator not too long ago that her art department went from 3 teachers in 3 different classrooms down to 1 art teacher. The array of classes available to students dropped dramatically. This makes no sense because according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, countries like the Netherlands and Japan that consistently rank the highest in scores for science and math have mandatory arts and music programs. The arts are so necessary, and the more research done on the topic, the more this point is proven over and over again. I recently stumbled upon a journal written by John Wright, a vocal coach and coordinator of the voice area at Salisbury University in Maryland, where he discussed some of his experiences working with inmates. I got on YouTube and found some videos of the ensemble of men incarcerated at Ohio's London Correctional Institution that John had been working with. They did an amazing job and benefited greatly from the experience. The men felt more connected with each other, more at peace, and found this something to actually be excited to get out of bed for. So let's listen to that for a second. Are these men prisoners? Yep. Are they artists? Absolutely. Even inside a correctional institution, people can create. My good friend Alex sent me a video recently that I think really highlights what I'm going for here. The Creative Growth Art Center in Oakland, California offers professional studio space and art materials, as well as gallery space to local artists with mental, physical, and developmental disabilities. This is an incredible step in the right direction to opening up the world of art to people of all kinds. So let's take a look at a few artists that are featured in one of their social media posts. These people have made absolutely beautiful work and achieved some amazing accomplishments. I volunteer with a program called OMA, which is Opening Minds Through Art, that has a similar concept, motivation, and hope with a very different execution. I went on the trips OMA took to Woodland Country Manor, where we would have art sessions with residents who have dementia. We came weekly to them with all the supplies and instructions needed for that day's session and would set up each table in a dining area with 2 artist stations. Then, we went out into the nursing home to find our assigned residents and bring them to have an hour-long art session. This was an amazing experience. I'd never really encountered an abstract art making process before these trips, and to watch 10 to 15 residents take the same prompt and make 10 to 15 entirely different pieces from it was incredible. Sometimes the residents loved their work, and sometimes they hated it, but they always enjoyed their time making, and despite their diminishing control over their bodies and minds, their work always turned out amazing. I frequently assisted one 92-year-old resident in his art making sessions, and these are a few of his works. He loves to paint nature scenes. Even the most abstract pieces he creates gets a title like Sunset on the Orchard or Field of Lilacs. These 2 are titled Early Locust Buds in the Park and Snowball Bush. From 3-year-old pianists to 20-something graphic designers to 40-something architects to 80-year-old dancers, they're all artists. But art doesn't have to be your career or even a hobby for you to be an artist. Angsty teens, incarcerated men and women, individuals with mental, physical, or developmental exceptionalities, 90-something-year-olds with dementia, me, and you, we're all artists. Everyone is an artist because everything is art, and that's what attracted me to the arts, what makes it so universally available and so special.